Oh God, terrible noises. What's this button do? Ow! I don't know what any of this does. Never had one of these before. Take two. 3, 2, 1. All right, let's try again. It still didn't work. I wonder if I'm even recording. Entertaining my viewers. Welcome to Smoke Shop. So I almost just buried this back into the corner. And then I realized, while we're playing with tools and Smoke Shop, I should probably take advantage of this thing. This was gifted to me. Well, let's go ahead and bring it out into the light. How about that? Because what I really need is a really heavy, hard to move thing in my way while I'm shuffling all this heavy, hard to move stuff. This thing is heavy. Oh God, terrible noises. Oh, cheese and rice, man. For those of you who don't know, this is drone mode. This is induction motor. Oh, Enco. Chicago, Illinois. Well, wait a minute. So this thing isn't a Chinese piece of junk? Cool. Oh, 1985. I have no idea. There's not a blade on it. I don't know if it's seized up or what the deal is. But, it's a pretty decent little unit. So maybe we'll break that out of the dark corners and try and bring it back to life. Like I said, I've never tried to plug it in or anything. I believe it was a random parked situation. But it was sitting in a somewhat outdoor shed, I believe. And I just braced up those legs so I can move it around without having to be super careful. But I won't tuck it back in the corner, guys. Guess who's on the bench, as they say. On deck, on the bench, next on the agenda is this Enco metal cutting bandsaw. Model number 137-3150. Says Bloomingdale Avenue, Chicago, Illinois. I'm looking for a made in Taiwan or anything like that. I mean, it really doesn't necessarily say made in. I reckon the first thing that we need to do is see what's underneath this cover. Should be, hopefully, pulleys and a belt. Take two. 3, 2, 1. Pulleys and a belt. All right, take 3. Looking for some sort of latch that I'm not seeing. Take 3. Pulleys and a belt. Ha ha! How about now? So we have what actually looks to be a good belt and pulleys. For the next trick, let's see if anything turns. We have turnage. All right. Well, that's all very promising. So yeah, there is a little clip over here. So there's 2 clips there and there. Anyway, I don't need to change any of that right now. There are 3 different speeds, or I guess possibly 6 different speeds. 3 speeds for sure. By setting those pulleys in different positions. Let's make the transformer sound, of course. A lot of that's actually, I mean, it's rusty for sure, but it's also dusty. It's dusty and rusty. I'll bet if we get it going good, it'll be trusty. You know, cheap insurance, I'll bet we could replace all these bearings relatively inexpensively. This guide wheel, well, I don't even know what you can see. Let's get you in here. You can't really see anything that I'm doing. Well, that's absolutely ridiculous. What I was looking at was these bearings and this guide wheel. We'll have to clean that all up for sure, at the very least. Yeah, it's filthy up in there. I don't know what you can see, but she's dirty. This would be the driven wheel, or the drive wheel rather, which does not seem to be turning, but oh yeah, she's turning. There's a transmission there for sure, and this should be a freewheel. Yep. A little bit of play, but I'm not sure how much there's supposed to be, or if there is supposed to be any. I don't know anything about horizontal bandsaws. I haven't used one since junior high school. It looks like there's a lot of adjustability. Where there is, it's just not moving. Yeah, basically we need to clean this thing up, first of all. But before we go any further, I suppose we should see if this motor works. I am not sure if there's even a switch anymore. Let's get under here and I don't know what that is, some sort of a junction block or something. I don't know what you're focused on either. Near as I can tell, not what I want you to. But I think that's just some sort of a junction block. I don't see a switch under there. I'm willing to bet that there probably is not one. It probably went bad. Oh wait, what's up here? Okay, so there is maybe. Hang on guys. Let's not jump to any conclusions. You guys are so fast to jump to conclusions. Here is the switch. There is a switch. I don't know how I didn't see that. It is a broken switch. Point being, there's a switch. I'm not sure what this does. What does this do? What does that do? Oh, that's your clamper. Yeah, that's your clamper. Okay. So yeah, we need lots of cleaning and lots of lubrication, I would say, and a switch. The operational whateverness, the reason the switch is here, normally when your stock is in the clamp, your blade lays on it and starts the cut, and then you walk away. And this tab right there, which is bent around, should not be bent around. What that is actually there to do, oh no, I guess that's it still. But that, when it cuts through, finishes cutting through the material, it hits that switch and turns the power off. So it's basically, you can set this thing up and walk away from it. And when you hear the saw stop, you know that the cut has been completed. It's big heavy stock, it's a handful for that. Because it takes longer to cut, needless to say. The wood bracing is obviously not factory. That's something that I put in there to keep it from falling down like a fawn, because it's heavy. Okay, gang, let's plug this thing in and see what happens. Engaging alternate power source. I guess the worst that can happen is we trip a breaker, right? Or shoot sparks out. What do you think, guys? I don't know if you can see me. 3, 2, 1, contact. Nothing happened. Okay. That's unfortunate. Nada. Well, that changes everything, folks. This switch is in the on position, I thought. Let's play. Power is unplugged. Okay, well, this switch feels like it's internally screwed up, but that might have clicked into the on position just then. Let's see. 3, 2, 1, contact. Oh, tripped the breaker. No, actually it didn't. Or it didn't trip the breaker on the... No. Did not trip the breaker, folks. Let's try again. Very interesting. Alright, I just rotated the motor a little to see if maybe it was just a bad contact point. Okay, something's happening. I heard it do something. Maybe it's just filthy. Maybe we're just going to try and clean the plug a little bit. Starters. I mean, if this motor's no good, I'm certainly not going to spend any time cleaning up the saw. Trying again. 3, 2, 1. Nothing that time. Well, there's our problem. This wire wasn't connected. So the time that it sort of came on, it might have seriously briefly been connected, but let's get this switch off of here. Except that somehow I've screwed up my knife and can't get the screwdriver out. There we go. The switch is no good anyway. But yeah, that connection, I mean, they didn't have enough wire to make that connection, and they made it anyway, so it was super tight, and as soon as it got bumped once, it came out. I'm not saying that I've never been guilty of doing stuff like that, but come on, man. So, what this needs is a longer piece of wire, or a piece of wire attached to it. I think I'm just going to add some wires to that and see if we have another switch. I don't believe I do, actually. All right, gang. Well, went to the hardware store and was able to acquire the switch we need. need to find a piece of wire and we'll get this thing wired up and see if it works. We're going to use a butt connector. Butt connectors are cool. They connect butts. Oh yeah, the original auto strippers. These are from Radio Shack. I don't think there's too many Radio Shacks left anymore. There we go. See if we can get the other side to work. Yeah. I was worried about these wires being too thin. They're thicker than what's on there. We're going to use a razor blade and try not to cut ourselves. Oh, I did say try not to. I'm not really cut, everybody. I'm just entertaining my viewers. That's what it is. That's what I call it anyway. Oh, am I supposed to be saying entertaining things right now? Entertaining things. Sorry, man. I was just sitting here thinking. There we go. Get that bad boy crimped. Crimpatronic. Anywho, now to our switch. Now, part of the reason that this failed is they didn't actually use a connector. They just kind of screwed the wires on here. I think since we have them sitting right here, we'll go ahead and utilize the connectors. It'll look a lot nicer, especially if you use the right tools. Because if you use the cutters to crimp your crimps, to crimp your connectors, it's probably going to end up just cutting it. Because they're cutters. That's what cutters do. They cut. Crimpers crimp. That's why they're crimpers. I wonder if I'm even recording. Sure hope so. If I'm not, then just be a quick cut to, hey, look, it's all wired and ready to go. In a single pole switch with two connections, it doesn't matter what you connect where. If there are three connections, then that can make a huge difference. But all we're doing now is connecting a circuit. It's either open or it's closed. That should work. There we go. Alright, gang. Looks like we are reinstalled with a switch. Brand and new. Nice and snug. On, off, theoretically. I should be able to plug this unit in here. Flip the switch. Houston, we have power. Interesting. So, guys, that makes it worth going forward. Moving forward. Moving forward. 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 Okay, anyway. Hey, hey. Ta-da! I don't know what any of this does. Never had one of these before. We got dang old transmission. I wonder if we got transmission type fluids. This looks loose. Oh, this is what's left of the handle that adjusts the... Okay, I see. Let's get in here and see if we can clean these bearings and stuff up. Well, it's starting to rain, so we might not get the greatest sound here. But I'm going to utilize universal cleaning solvent. Pretty sure brake clean is not really a universal cleaning solvent. But I think it will work for what we're trying to accomplish here. Well, we'll just do one at a time, I guess. I should have some sort of eye protection on. We'll go with the reading glasses for now. So, Harbor Freight has blades that will fit this. So I believe what I'm going to do is, I might even go over there tonight if I feel froggy. If not, I'll go in the morning and go and get a blade. Because theoretically, may look into seeing if I can find some bearings too. I mean, I know I could get them at Granger or someplace. We're going to hit those with some lubricant also, since I just hit them with a cleaner. But anyway, this is what I was talking about. Assuming you can see that top one, let me check and make sure. Might even zoom you in a little bit more. Let's see if we can. Let's see. I say in. I say in, son. In, not out. Thank you, my friend. Thank you. I'm quite confident that I can get bearings at Granger or someplace like that. But what I was talking about before, what I thought was a guide because of the ridge, at least down there, is just a bearing. It's just dirty. Like filthy dirty. Yeah, see, that ridge just knocks right off. It's just built up metal shavings and grease and whatever else. Could be magnetized. Magnetic. Basically, what I'm trying to do now is work through any of the dirt or anything that's gotten inside of the bearing. What'll happen is a little chunk of dirt will get in there and keep them from rolling freely. Now, what we've just done with this solvent is washed out any type of lubrication that was in there. So we're going to have to spray them. We're going to spray them with some penetrating lubricant, because everyone likes penetrating lubricant. Thinking we're going to hit this with some chain cleaner. Just because I happen to have it handy. Then we're going to hit it with some silicone, I believe. And all I'm trying to do now is try and get as much of the cleaners and stuff as we can out of there before we try and spray a lubricant in there. Because I don't want it to just immediately break down the lubricant. Anywho, I think that's going to put us at a stopping point for right now, because I need to go get a blade and or do some more research on whether or not we need blade rubbers on there. And if so, how I can get them, how quickly I can get them, etc. But I guess we could come around here and play a little bit on the adjuster slide. Sort of like the electric slide. It's electric. I should probably unplug it while we're spraying all these lubricants all over the place. I just went straight lubricant. I didn't clean anything on this. We can go back and do that. Well, Harbor Freight got me again. Ooh, those definitely need to be cleaned. I was able to score what we need, which is a blade. I also scored on clearance one of these handy guys. Pneumatic spark plug cleaner. It's basically a tiny sandblaster for spark plugs. I've always wanted one of these. I remember seeing them as a kid in the J.C. Whitney catalog. And I always wanted one. And now I have one. It was $6. And not on sale, the 9-piece wobble set. I've been, again, same thing. Every time it comes up on sale, I say, oh, I need to go get that, and then I don't get it. So instead, I waited till it wasn't on sale and went and bought it. Kind of ridiculous. We're going to get some pneumatics. A little bit of air over here and knock out some of this built up dust. Shavings, I guess it's called when you're dealing with metal. Shavings of dust. Dust shavings. Dust shavings would be very, very tiny. Yeah, watch your face. I don't know if that compressor is ever going to shut off. I would have thought it would have done so already. But I'm not going to sit here all day. I have other things, once again, that I need to do. When you're undoing a bandsaw blade, be very careful. If you have tender hands, wear gloves. It's not a razor blade, it's a saw blade, but still. The other thing is this is a lot bigger than this. It's just coiled up. So that's the part that'll cut you. Now all we're going to do, in theory, is put this on the bottom roller. Feed it through the guides. Theoretically. Again, the whole time trying not to hit yourself in the face. Alright. Now we're going to check and make sure we're on both wheels. And you want to push it all the way up to the stop on the back of the wheel. I have no idea why that compressor is still running. going to just do this by hand for starters. Basically, I'm just kind of rolling it around to make sure that it's not... Ow! Yeah, pinched my finger, hand in between the belt and the pulley because I was paying more attention to the blade. Anywho, we're going to try to not do that again. So there's our weld point. So in junior high school, I was in metal shop, and we had a very large industrial-sized metal cutting bandsaw, vertical bandsaw. And one of the things that I always thought was neat about that machine was that it actually had a blade repair system built onto the cover. There was a grinding wheel and a spot welder, basically, built into the machine. And if the blade broke, you ground off your edges straight, and stuck it in there, and clamped it, and it would re-weld it back together. I don't know if that's something that still exists, but on that old school machine, that was a neat feature. We never got to use it. We weren't taught how to use it or anything, but the concept was clear. At least on this one, I believe there should be some sort of a guide. I know you can put a table on this and use it in a vertical position. I'm going to go ahead and tighten this up some more. We're going to leave about 1/4 of an inch or so. Now, as we have no cover on here, this could be very dangerous. But we're going to turn it on. So, I'm going to stand behind this thing, and if it comes off, you'll be able to see it, and I'll watch it in the footage later. Should be fine. Right. All right. Now, all that vibrating and shaking, I don't particularly like. I believe what I'm going to do is we're going to check this there is a transmission. And I think we're going to check that next. Because there should be actually oil in there. There's an oil bath. But our blade is now installed, and we could make a cut. But I think, like I said, we're going to clean this machine up a little bit more and check into this transmission case. So I think I should probably unplug this. Reminds me, which reminds me, we also need to replace this plug-in because the ground is broken off. Hey gang, how you doing? I imagine you can actually see me now. So, what I would like to do, I'm assuming that this is a stop for how far the saw can drop. What? Gotta tighten up the slop. This beat don't stop. Rap music. Ricky remix. This is just a reminder that I'm not crazy. So, basically, this is a stop. And what I believe it's going to do is prevent the saw from dropping down far enough to break the switch finger off, which is what happened to the last switch. So that's the first thing I'm going to do. Hey, this thing's a lot heavier than it looks, by the way. Is look into that. Yeah, see? Okay. Yes. Okay. Now, what I have done is I've achieved magnificence. What I wanted to. That's all I'm trying to say. There we go. Yeah. All right. We have consistent turnage offage. Yeah, it's turning it off but it's not really putting pressure on it. That's the main thing. We don't want this weight of this saw resting on the switch. We want it resting on this stop. Now what we should have in here, let's make sure we're unplugged, yeah, is we should have gear oil in here, basically up to the edge of this box. In the position that it is in. That socket's in my pocket, but I'm looking for it later. Yeah, this oil, I believe, if I read correctly, was supposed to be changed annually. I'm willing to bet that if there is anything in there, it is the original oil. Speaking of broken gaskets, maybe not. I smell gear oil. Ugh. There is oil in there. Oh man, old gear oil. What a terrible, terrible smell. So I don't know if it needs to be changed or just checked. I reckon that for now, the fact that there is oil in there at all is better than not. That's a new sound. Possibly a plate compactor. They must be doing something with drain pipes or something. Wow. Anyway. Well, I'm just going to put this cover back on. I did not see anything that looked bad. I would prefer nice, fresh, clean fluid in there, but as I don't have any, that's kind of a fantasy. Yeah, that's got to be either a plate compactor or a steamroller. It's literally vibrating the entire air, I guess would be the word. Oh, I wonder if they're putting in a paver driveway, maybe. Like I say, comment down below if you want. We'll take this whole thing apart, mask off the stickers, and put a paint job on this thing. I think it'd be kind of ridiculous, frankly, but I think that time would be much better spent on Mr. Hancock. I think what this needs, and we'll probably just get, is a wipe down with an oily rag. I could sit here for 6 months and detail this thing out. We're going for functionality. And what I'm thinking is we could replace these wooden parts with metal parts. And all I would need to really do is cut this end off. And a handy way to do that would be with a horizontal bandsaw. In theory, we could set this here, make sure we're going to clear, and cut this as far there as we can get it. Alright, we'll crank it down in our little clamp, plug our little saw in, and possibly destroy this blade. Let's find out. You want to come over here where you can see better, maybe? How about that? Ooh, hey. Calm down. I know you're excited. Alright, they've added a new sound. Now there's a second vibrating. So maybe it's a steamroller and a... Wow. I don't know if y'all can hear that. Anyhow, here goes nothing. Oh, blade's not tight enough. I'm gonna go ahead and tighten that up some more. Considerably more. Pretty much as tight as I'm comfortable making it. Ta-da! Yay! It worked. Well, guys, I think that deserves a ice cold adult beverage of my choice. Cheers. Anyhow, this thing's functional. I'm gonna have to look into blade speeds and blade types. That took a lot longer than it should have to cut, and that's probably completely my incorrect setup. But it did function. There's some slop and some shaking and stuff that I want to investigate further. I wouldn't mind putting some better, fresher fluid in there. Like I said, just generally checking things a little more thoroughly. I'm not really worried about painting this thing. As I mentioned earlier, comment below if you really want to see it painted. I mean, that would be some hammer tone paint. But what I'm thinking more is just go through it the rest of the way, replace some of these bearings that need to be replaced, and make sure everything's tightened up. Go ahead and utilize this piece of metal and make metal braces instead of wood. And just make it where it's a good, viable bandsaw. Anyhow, check out my other videos. They should be available over there. Yeah, I think you can subscribe up there. Anyhow, thanks for watching. Bye-bye.